Hi, my name is Jelle and I'm a professional mental performance trainer. In this video I'm going to be reacting to some coaches on the practice court field. Mostly be looking at the way to communicate with the athletes and see what we can kind of learn from that and maybe give some insight into why these really high level coaches are doing this, what the reasoning behind it is, and kind of what it does with the mental state and the psychology of the athletes. So without further ado, let's get into the first clip.
Billa being in the gym, hopefully Chauncey Billups being in the gym will give our guys some juice, but whatever we have to do as a staff, fourth day, hump day, let's get these guys going. It's also on us as a staff, myself included, to get them going. What's all this Elmo stuff?
He called me that last year.
Man, I was stretching this morning, I hear him saying, "Hey, Elmo." I'm like, who's called Elmo, man? How's your body feel? Sore? I'm gonna get with Hess after practice tonight. We'll figure out the next 4 days when we can give you some well-deserved time to get your body right. Let's get better tonight, man. Right from Jump Street. Let's get better right from Jump Street. Here we go. Nuggets on 3. 1, 2, 3.
So to start off, I really like this idea of doing a little kind of, it's almost introductory talks with coaching staff, with athletes individually. And you can really sense that this coach is giving a personal feel to working with these athletes. In order to practice or to compete effectively, what athletes need to be able to do is just focus on practicing, on performing, and nothing else should be a distraction. So sometimes before a practice, you'll see coaches, really good coaches, you'll see them talk about things that are going on to sort of assure the athlete, like, hey, it's okay, this is going on in your life, but for now, let's just focus on practice, and then afterwards we can pick it up. Also like the kind of individual approach that you feel when he's talking to the athlete about, I guess, fatigue or soreness. Maybe it's an athlete coming back from an injury and really says like, hey, we're going to make sure that we cater this program so that it works for you, rather than the approach of just like tough it out kind of thing. And you can see that the athlete reacts really well because it's almost a bargain, right? The coach says, let's get through today, and then tonight we'll figure out what fits for your body. Basically, he's saying if you just put in, if you are willing to just bite through this and go through the pain today, then we can find a solution tonight. So it's almost a bargain, and the athlete doesn't even think about it and just like, yeah, sounds good. Well, we'll do that. So I really like that.
Attack player, I want you to attack. Just be careful at times dribbling into a crowd or forcing something that may not be there. If it's there, make something happen, Will. But if it's not there, now we get ourselves into trouble that leads to a turnover. That's what we have to watch out for. So be aggressive, play to the rim, slash, run, do everything you do and I love about you. But make sure now, if there is nothing there, sometimes just make the simple play. You know what I'm saying?
The coach does an amazing job of breaking down the game to a point where it's a single decision for the athlete to make it a single moment. The hard part about sports, especially team sports, where there's a lot of things happening at the same time, is that often athletes have to make a lot of decisions at the same time. And that can get really tricky where athletes either make the wrong decision or they just don't make a decision whatsoever. And what the coach does in this communication is really, really great here. He says, when you get to this point, there's one decision to make. If this particular situation is there, if you have the chance, go for it. That's what I want you to do. That's why you're here. That's really clear. If it's not, then you have these other options. So now this athlete doesn't have to think about what am I going to do. The only thing the athlete has to think is, am I going to do A or am I going to do B? But what he doesn't say is, do this in this situation, do this in this situation. It's not talking about if a defender is here. So he leaves the decision to the athlete, but lets him know what the decisions are. And that's really strong. It helps the athlete feel empowered to make their own decisions, their own play, and be in charge of what they do. But the coach does a really good job of communicating that so that he can guide that athlete towards making the right decisions. So that's a really strong piece of coaching right there.
Good, yes! Good pass, E! Hey, hell of a pass, hell of a pass. That's the biggest thing for me. I know we're gonna make mistakes and we're young, but if the effort is there, we can live with it. Hey, you know what, you guys played hard. You played hard.
I think another really cool thing in the overall, in the first two clips that we've kind of seen, is the amount of positive reinforcement that is happening. The two coaches that we've seen so far definitely have been talking about how you can improve, where to make changes, but the overall tone of their coaching has been very positive. And this is a really important thing, and there's a lot of research into this topic. The bottom line with positive versus negative reinforcement is that if you go in and constantly kind of negatively attack an athlete, saying you're terrible, do this better, this is not good enough, this is, whatever, what happens is that people shut down. And what I mean with shut down is they stop listening. So the positive reinforcement has nothing to do with these athletes being soft or not being able to handle critique or feedback. It's that if you give somebody too much negative feedback, they stop listening. It's just a natural defense mechanism that every human has. So as a rule of thumb, you can almost say, in order for somebody to keep listening to the critique you're giving them, you have to have a ratio of 5 positive points to 1 negative point. And with negative, I mean, try and improve this, try and be better at this, right? So it's just that. So in order to make sure that you can tell athletes, try and improve here, do this differently, you have to constantly be telling them what they're doing right, where they're doing the things that you want to do, and keep reinforcing that that positive, the positive plays. The next clip is from a coach and a tennis player. So it's a one-on-one relationship, and you'll see a little bit how that's different. How the energy between the two is very different than in that team setting.
Do you have a new one?
Just keep giving yourself space, drive forward. Your ball feels good though, it's jumping.
Feels great today.
Yeah.
This is the first kind of example of where a one-on-one relationship with a coach would differ a lot in the way they communicate from a team perspective. The athlete here says, is there anything you want? What she's basically asking is, hey, what do you want me to work on? I'm ready to go. And that's something that is a lot easier when you're doing one-on-one coaching work than when you're doing a team, because it's harder for one person in a team to say, hey, what do you want me to do when there's so many moving parts. So that's just an interesting thing to see that difference straight away.
Good. It's good though, good miss. Start to, every now and again in the rally, play some heavy more to his backhand side.
Okay.
Maybe you didn't pick up on that. I just heard a term that I think is really important in coaching, the term good miss. It's something that's really ties into what I was talking to about the beginning of this practice, which is what are you trying to, what's a positive outcome? So a good miss is a term that is used by coaches to indicate a ball that was out or was, in a different sport, maybe like it wasn't a goal or it went wide or something like that, but was the right thing to do. So even though you missed it, it was the right decision, you tried to do the right thing, you just missed it a little bit, right? There's a difference between a good miss and a bad miss. So for instance, what they're working on right now is stepping into the ball and trying to make it an aggressive acceleration, I think they were saying. So probably in this ball, she did that and just missed the cord just a little bit. And therefore the coach says, basically what he's saying is, don't be fooled by the fact that ball didn't hit the court. That was the right thing to do. That's a really good term that you can use as a coach, like to communicate a good action that didn't necessarily have a particularly good result in that particular sport.
Try to be disciplined here, that even though you're just rallying cross, try to make it a challenge of you versus him. Don't miss before him.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. Just making a competition out of a really easy drill, saying don't miss before him. What I assume he's trying to do here is to put some kind of game-like pressure on a drill that otherwise would just be completely lacking any kind of pressure. This is important because the emotions an athlete are feeling influences the way they are executing the skills. So basically, hitting the same shot for her in a game on match point is not the same as hitting it into practice. Now, obviously, it's really hard to recreate a match point situation in practice, but little things like this, little pressure like this, can really help increase pressure. But tiny little things like that can make a really big influence on how much what they're practicing right now will translate into an actual game. So that one sentence can make this practice session way more efficient if you look at how much that athletes can take into the game. And it seems like such a small thing, but if you consistently do that, if coaches consistently do that in their communication, they really can boost the efficiency of their practice. So that was my take on some coaches' communication in practice. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I hope to see you again in the next video.